Welcome back to First Cut. Jon Dunning and Jason Alt here to talk about 2018 Gekimation Violence Voyager, directed by Ujicha.
His name is Robert Houston. He came with his parents from America.
Bobby, you're late.
I'm sorry.
So, shall we go?
Something's there.
Bobby, what's that?
The hands-on amusement park. Violence Voyager. That's it, just like the sign said. Welcome to Violence Voyager. What is this place?
It looks really run down. Let's go home.
Welcome. Sorry about the wait. I'm always here, waiting for children to come and play. But firstly, you must learn the rules. It's time I prepared the attractions. Men, I am commander of the Violence Voyager. They began their attack on mankind last summer. In 3 days, they had killed 80% of the human population. They attack by spraying a strong liquid from their hands. Men, it's time to take your guns and begin your attack.
What's that? It's a girl. Are you okay?
What?
Let's go back to the entrance together. The bridge! It's gone.
We can't go home. You go.
I think they went in there. So, she is here. What is this place?
They modified you too.
Takashi will marry that girl, then they will conceive a new life.
Takashi.
See, there's no escape.
So in this episode of First Cut, we are traveling east to talk about a Japanese animation film. This one is unlike anything that I've ever seen, and probably most of our audience has ever seen before. Just watching the trailer, I was extremely excited for this, because whether anyone likes it or hates it, they can't deny that this is truly a unique film experience.
This is described as a Gekimation. Geki, a Japanese prefix, or I guess they use it as a suffix, but it's sort of like a prefix. I don't know. Look, man, it's a modifier that means intense or very, So Gekimation, I guess, is intense animation. It's like regular animation, but more intense somehow, which is funny because it's a combination of dynamic and static images. And this isn't a country which has the most storied animation culture on the planet. So to make the audacious claim that this is intense compared to regular anime, I think is pretty crazy. But there's something about this style of animation that really affected me.
I guess as a Westerner comparison, the closest thing that I would compare it to would be a South Park. But I mean, we're literally watching flat paper images moving on the screen, and even the vocal track, their mouths don't move. It's more like watching a puppet show than anything else. It's a whole other dynamic of unsettling lifelessness to it. We watched the English dubbed version of this one. So, whenever you're watching an anime, the translation's always a bit rough or a bit jarring. This one didn't feel as foreign. It has kind of a familiar story and a familiar verbiage. But yeah, Jason, without giving away too much, what is Violence Voyager about?
Well, these two friends go to visit another third friend who moved to a different village across the mountains. They're warned not to go through the mountains. They do anyway, but instead of going to visit their friend, they end up at this strange amusement park. And it's basically a squirt gun course where these things pop up and you shoot them with the squirt gun. And it's a lot of fun, but it turns out it's more than just an amusement for children. It's actually a trap. to ensnare children and trap them in a malevolent murder maze.
Our main character is a foreigner. He's, I think, American.
His name is Bobby. He's from America. I don't know why I don't know why that detail was necessary. They're like, for whatever reason, it's like, oh, he's the protagonist because he's got blonde hair. I don't really know, but yeah, he was definitely referred to as an American kid.
And it's not like his friend was hard to pick out either. Like some of the children have weird kind of waffle or grid style marking.
Those are worry lines from being worried about whether they're going to escape.
Yeah, maybe so. This is magical realism, a storytelling device where everything is kind of set in a real world setting, but there are these very subtle, fantastical elements. Like they run into a group of friends, constantly has their tongue like hanging out really far, which is just that's what I'm saying. Like this film is just chock full of these strange, bizarre, unsettling little nuanced pieces, and they just culminate in this massively violent orchestra. And at first it's kind of stereotypical. They're just kind of trudging through the mountains until they happen upon this place. But then when this thing ramps up and it goes to a 22, it's off the Richter scale.
I don't want to give too much away because I think that some of the crazy twists are something you need to experience. So like I want to talk a bit about how affecting the film was without saying why. If you like the Animatrix, this is what I compared it to. I felt like this was very unsettling. This is supposed to be a children's amusement park, but there's a very like violent and unsettling premise to the amusement park. And for something that's basically a mundane squirt gun course where like these cardboard things pop up and you shoot them with the squirt gun and they fall back down, and there's a hose attached to them so they spray water at you, and you're protected by your Violence Voyager suit, which is just a poncho. The premise of it being a squirt gun course, there's a really violent backstory to it that kind of reminded me of the Animatrix. So if you kind of liked how unsettling that was in a lot of parts, I think you might get a kick out of this movie. And at an hour and change, it's a pretty brief watch. So I don't want to say this was great, but also I think everyone should watch it. Does that make sense?
I absolutely agree, because it's so unique. Kind of did some research, and we think that Ujicha might be the only one that's doing this type of animation. Like if you're a film fan at all, even if you're not like I'm not an anime fan, like, so just that aspect of it wasn't for me. And it's not like it was a huge turnoff, because it's very different from an anime. This is way darker and way more like subtle, where it's not just like the loud noises and bright colors. This is the complete antithesis of that. This feels...
I can tell you're not an anime fan because you think this is darker than most anime.
I understand. There's very dark animes, but still, even the most effed up animes I've seen, nothing really compares to this. Like, I felt absolutely physically ill while watching this, and that's kind of a cool thing, right? Like Jason and I watch a lot of horror movies, or just films in general, and not a lot of films gave me this kind of a visceral response as this film did.
Yeah, and that's really all we need to say about it. Was it good? Was it bad? Those words don't apply to Gekimation. Right? What applies to Gekimation is, does this movie make you feel real weird? Was it unsettling? Are you the kind of person that likes creepy stuff, Do you go to the no sleep subreddit or creepypasta or stuff like that?
Yeah.
Do you read the special containment procedures website right before bed? If you're the kind of person that likes to freak yourself out a little bit, this is a freaky movie. It's an hour, so it's definitely worth investing an hour if you're someone who likes that kind of thing. If you're squeamish, maybe it's not for you. But what I will say is I was watching it and I kind of got sucked in and wasn't real aware that the mouths weren't moving. Like, they definitely weren't, but like that wasn't a thing that bothered me.
Right.
I just, for whatever reason, the animation style kind of worked. And I appreciated that, like, real liquids were applied. He would like splash fake blood on the paper, when someone got injured, stuff like that. I really thought that was cool. It took me out of it a little bit, but I think that's because I was looking at it from a you know, how this film was made perspective. If you are just watching this to watch it, I think the animation style isn't that jarring, and I think once you get used to it, it'll be really engrossing, and I think you'll really appreciate the rest of the movie.
There's definitely a settling in period that you have to go through. It's almost like the Dark Crystal, right? Age of Resistance, where for a lot of people that are just watching Dark Crystal for the first time, they're just like, oh my God, I have to watch 8 hours of puppets. But then if you're in after 5 minutes, you are so in, and that just becomes, you just accept what you're watching, and these become real characters. It's exactly the same thing here. I felt for these characters as much as I would a live action character or a traditionally animated character. Like, even though their mouths aren't moving, he finds a way to make their emotions very articulate, which is crazy. You didn't have to guess what anyone was feeling, even though everyone had a deadpan face all the time.
I guess on a scale from don't watch this to watch this, I'm going to give it a watch this.
I'm gonna give it a watch this with an asterisk because
a watch this minus.
Yeah, exactly.
/ don't watch this plus.
Yeah, it's just I only watch this for a certain number of people. Like, if you're if you're squeamish at all, this might just be the thing that really bothers you. Otherwise, you know, like I said, if you are just a fan of film in general, especially animation, different types of animation, if you like Coraline or, you know, just other groundbreaking attempts at pushing the boundaries of animation, this is definitely something to check out. This actually won a couple awards as well. The Buenos Aires International Festival of Independent Cinema, it won the Special Jury Prize. It was nominated for the best film as well. So yeah, there are the reviews that are there are pretty sterling.
I think it's just people that like freaky stuff. He made 2 other Gekimation films. Ujicha did. So if this is something you like, maybe go check those other ones out as well. I haven't done that yet, but this kind of makes me want to, just purely out of morbid curiosity.
Absolutely. So check this out. It's streaming on Amazon and other video on demand platforms. Come back and tell us in the comments if you liked it. If you didn't, if it was just too much. It was pretty much too much for me. It looks like Jason had a little bit stronger of a stomach for this kind of thing. But yeah, tell us what you thought in the comments below. Thumb up the video, share it, tell everyone that we're reviewing movies. And thanks for watching, everyone.
Watch this movie with friends and watch the rest of our reviews on this channel.